back. I'm actually running a little short on time, so I'm just going to get right into continuing this Q&A. Recently, I've suffered from a bit of gaming burnout. On top of my new family taking up a lot of my free time, not a complaint, by the way, I welcome it. Congratulations, by the way. I have just overall lost a lot of interest in gaming. It's an odd and new position for me since it has been a hobby of mine for years now. I still love games and the idea of gaming, but when I actually have a chance to game, I find myself thinking, meh, what's the point? And just doing other things. I was wondering if you yourself have been in such a position before and what it was that brought you out of it. You know, I used to have that problem. I know I went through a period where I was playing games like constantly, and then I went through a period where I was just sort of sick of them, and I just didn't really have the drive to play games so much anymore. But that hasn't happened in such a long time. I don't really remember what I did. As it is right now, the only time I play games is when I'm either recording footage for a game den or I'm doing a Let's Play. So I don't really get to play video games for recreation, purely for recreation very often. So I don't really have that problem. Yeah, so I'm afraid I don't really have an answer for that. You know, sometimes you just sort of lose your interest in something, and, you know, sometimes they come and go. I would imagine that at some point it'll come back and you'll feel like playing them again. But yeah, not much of an answer, but there you go. Are you excited about Resident Evil 7? Well, I was before it came out. Now I just think it's a good game. Have you ever thought about bringing back your cooking and recipe videos? Oh yeah, the cooking videos are one of those things that I just kind of do whenever I think about it, or sometimes I'll get ready to make something and I'll think, oh, you know, other people might like to know about this, or other people might like to have this recipe or know about this technique. And I'll film it, and then I'll film myself doing it at some point. I'll just go and edit it and add the narration. In fact, I have like at least 2 more that I filmed. One of them was a Christmas recipe. But I have 2 more that I've filmed, and I just have to edit them and do the narration. So yeah, I definitely have more recipe videos planned. Again, it's just one of those things I do once in a while when the mood strikes. Have you ever considered commenting on Lost Odyssey, even briefly? I'm not actually sure what that is. I'm pretty sure it's a game, but yeah, I've never played it, so no, not really. What are the top 10 things you will never review? I think I answered a question similar to that. I think that might have been top 5, but yeah, basically I already answered that one. I'm just flying right through these. Have you seen the newest season of My Little Pony? If so, what did you think of the final episode, particularly the change to a certain species I shall not name to avoid spoilers if you haven't seen it yet? I guess what I'll do is I'll put like a timestamp that you can skip to if you don't want to get spoiled on the last season of My Little Pony. Basically what they're talking about is the fact that the changelings were kind of like saved, and they kind of got a redesign where they're a lot more colorful and pretty now. I'm kind of on the fence. I think they generally look pretty good. Maybe they're a little bit overly colorful, but I mean, like, bugs in nature can be colorful, so I don't know that it's really that bad of a thing. I think having like jewels embedded in their skin is a little weird. Like, why'd they do that? Yeah, I mean, I guess I hate to say I'm on the fence about it, but I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not really bothered. I'm not completely sure how I feel about it. It has been a while since, you know, lately I've been watching My Little Pony videos, like, Lately I've been watching My Little Pony episodes just once, and then a lot of times I kind of forget about them afterwards, so it's kind of hard to go back and remember exactly how I felt when I saw them. So basically I'm not outraged. I'm sort of on the fence, leaning towards liking them, as I recall. Obviously I'm going to elaborate on that once I eventually get to that episode. Are you finished with the Hellraiser series? Obviously not. Any chance you will review the Candyman series? No plans. I've seen Candyman like once, years and years ago, when it was probably first on cable or something, and I don't really remember it that well. So, I mean, if I end up watching Candyman and I really like it, or I feel like I have a lot to say about it, then maybe, but I don't really plan on covering it. Tony thinks he's cute and he's asking me about the horror cast, but I've already answered a question about the horror cast, so joke's on you, asshat. Have you ever ran into any fans in public before? If so, how did it go? That's not something that really happens often. I'm not really a big enough of a YouTuber that like people catch me on the street, say something about my videos or whatever. The only time that really happened was at, during, which MagFest was this? Well, I guess it was, the last MagFest Lee and I went to, which was a few years ago. We were there with a lot of other Channel Awesome people, and yeah, that was when we did that. We were in that panel. So therefore, a lot of the people who went to MagFest that year were fans of people who were on Channel Awesome. So yeah, I got recognized a lot, and the first time it was kind of awkward because I'm not terribly social, and the first time it happened, it was great and everything, but it was also a little bit awkward because the guy's like, "Oh, I'm a big fan of your videos." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then there's like awkward silence. So I'm like, "Well, I gotta go," and I excused myself as quickly as I could. And I hope the guy didn't think he was bothering me or anything. It actually really was really cool being recognized. And after that, I dealt with it a lot better. It took some getting used to. I handled it with a bit more grace after that one. Yeah, it just took some getting used to, and I handled it with a bit more grace after that first one. But in the beginning, it was kind of awkward. So, have you ever thought about doing a game day and/or Let's Play on the first 2 Clock Tower games? I guess by first 2, I assume you mean the one on Super Famicom and the one on PlayStation 1, not Clock Tower and Clock Tower 2, as they were called in America, that were both on PlayStation. I'd be more likely to do a Let's Play than a game den. I don't know how to explain it, but there are just some games that I would rather play than talk about. Kind of like how I am with the Resident Evil movies. I did play the first Clock Tower game that came out on PlayStation. I did play that one, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I've actually been meaning to Let's Play that one forever. Maybe I'll do that after Let's Play I'm currently working on. But I don't know about the Super Famicom one, just because I kind of had problems playing that one because I was playing a ROM of that one, and I was playing it with a keyboard, and maybe it would just work better with a controller. But that one was a little frustrating to play. It could be just that it's an older game, and because I was playing it for the first time, it just didn't work out. I think it's an awesome game, but I just, I kind of had problems with playing it. But I love the PlayStation 1 sequel to that. So I would definitely do a Let's Play on that one. The first, I'm not so sure. I should really probably try to play that again in my free time and see if I can, figure it out and see if maybe it's more playable than I think. Another couple of questions, if it's not too much. If you could make your own film, what type of movie would it be? Also, would you write and direct it by yourself, or would you work with a co-writer or director? If you have seen it, what are your thoughts on Halloween 3 Season of the Witch? What do you think of the movie's electric music theme by John Carpenter? Okay. One at a time. Make your own film. What type of movie would it be? That's a good question. Some sort of CGI or otherwise animated movie about cybercats would be cool. I would probably not do I don't know. I don't know if I could direct it or not. I don't really know what goes into directing exactly. I suppose I could direct it, or I could co-direct it at least. I would be the creator, and probably somebody else would write the script, but I would have the final say on what goes into it. It'd probably be something like that. Thoughts on Halloween 3? Halloween 3 is kind of a guilty pleasure. I enjoy the hell out of that movie. I'm going to talk about it someday. I intentionally skipped over it when I talked about Halloween and all the sequels because, it's not really a true sequel for one thing, and I planned on talking about it on its own. So someday I'll do a film den on that. But, what do I think of the movie's theme? I actually don't remember what the theme sounded like, so I can't really comment on that. But I'll try to remember that when I get to covering it on the film den. Did you ever finish Silent Hill 4 Introspection fanfic, or is that what you have on YouTube the farthest you got? And there's a question about Lee, which I'm not going to answer. Yeah, actually, Silent Hill 4 Introspection is the one and only thing I have written to completion. I like the idea of writing, and there are some aspects of writing I'm good at, but I've never been able to wrap my head around writing a completed story. I always get to a certain point where I just sort of get stuck, and it's like, okay, I kind of know the next thing I want to happen, but I'm not sure how to get there. I'm not sure how can I explain this? It's like, I've got point A, and I I know what I want to do for point B, but getting from point A to point B, for some reason, I always hit some kind of snag where it's like, I know what I want to happen next. I just don't know how to get there. And the thing will just sit on the shelf and it'll never be finished. I've tried writing a fanfic that was a crossover between Transformers and Cybercats, and I only got like maybe 3 or 4 chapters into it. That one I may have just run out of steam with, because I had a pretty good idea of where I was going with that one, I think. I also had an idea. I was actually working on my Silent Hill 4 novelization around the same time. I'd been watching a lot of reruns of Angel, and I was going to cross over Silent Hill 4 with Angel, and I only got like a couple chapters into it because I got to a point where Angel and his friends were going to have to break into Wolfram and Hart, and I'm like, okay, so how are they going to do that? And I just never came up with a way to make that work. So I had all these ideas that I had written maybe 2 or 3 chapters of it. It's actually on, well, no, only the prologue is on fanfiction.net. But yeah, but that's I'm getting rambly now. But yeah, Silent Hill 4 Introspection is done. I actually linked to it in, I think I've linked to it in every episode of that audio drama thing I was doing, so you can find it that way. I'll try to remember to put it in the comments section, a link to it in the comment section of this too. But yeah, that is actually finished. So anyway, yeah, the actual story itself is done. I just gotten only so far with that audio drama part of it. Are you losing weight? No, I'm not, but thank you very much. What is your earliest memory playing video games? My earliest, probably going to the state fair and playing Pac-Man, playing the arcade version of Pac-Man. Although that's kind of fuzzy, to be honest. My earliest version of playing video games at home, well, probably because this was my first game ever, was Pac-Man for the Atari. Well, Pac-Man and Space Invaders for the Atari 2600. Those were the first games I have, and the first games that I have actual vivid memories of playing for the first time. Before that, I'd only played video games in arcades a little bit. Given Konami's reinvention, have you accepted that Silent Hill is practically done as a franchise? Yeah. I mean, I'm not happy about it, but it kind of brings me down a little bit when I see people saying stuff like, oh, I hope Konami comes to their senses and starts making games again, or, if we just tell Konami how much we love their games, they'll start making them again. Guys, Konami's not going to make games anymore. I mean, I don't mean to be mean, but it's true. I mean, the reason Konami stopped making video games is that it's more profitable for them to make pachinko machines. It's a business decision. And I know it sucks for us, and I wish they had at least finished Silent Hills, but they're not gonna. So yeah, I have pretty much accepted it. I don't like it, but I don't want to be one of those people who's perpetually hanging on to the idea that someday they'll make more Silent Hill games. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible. Maybe they'll sell off the franchise to some other company, but it doesn't seem like they have any interest in doing that. So I think if Konami had planned to do that, we would have heard about it by now. So yeah, I have pretty much accepted that Silent Hill is a dead franchise. As much as it sucks. Yeah, another question about Lee. I pretty much already said everything I'm going to say about that, so. Another question about Silent Hill 4 Introspection. I've already talked about that. Why do you come to my channel every day looking for it? Are you subscribed to me? Just subscribe to me, and if it comes up, you'll see it. Well, in theory. I know there's a bug where that doesn't always work, but I was going to answer one more question, but the next one's kind of long and like a multiple question. So I'm going to stop here, even though I'm ending kind of early in this one, but I'm about run out of time anyway, so try to finish this before Lee gets home for lunch. So that's it for now. I'm actually almost done here. I think there's about 6 questions left here on the original page where I asked people to ask questions, and I'm going to look over the comments section of the other videos, the videos where I answered questions, to see if more were posted there, just to make sure. And I think this is part 5, I believe. I think part 6 will actually be the last one. I'm actually almost done with this, holy crap. So anyway, yeah, I'm just going to end this here, and that's it for now. See you next time.